Hey guys, welcome back to the Beast Lab. I know we've had a small hiatus there throughout the summer. Now that the ML season's over, it gives me some time to go over some stuff, and I've spent about a month with the Under Armour Command X. I think this head is gonna do very, very well sales-wise. I want to go over the review that I had. So for the past month, I've worked with it, and my Face-Off Academy athletes in New York who have been doing our weekly draw days have had a lot of chances to take a ton of reps with it. As you can see, it's not very beat up. It's taken a ton of reps. We've used it for guys who are just passing it around the room, taking full-on lives at the high school, college, and youth level, and it really hasn't worked too badly. So let me go over this from top to bottom so you get a good understanding of what we're dealing with here. So let's start here. The scoop is fantastic. It's very strong, it's sturdy, it doesn't warp too much. When you stick it to the ground, it stays right where it needs to be. It'll go right through the ball, it's not an issue. Also, when we go down from the top now, we're looking at asymmetrical sidewalls. So this has been tried in the past. A long time ago, Warrior had a head called the FOA, which failed miserably. Not because of their fault, it's just I don't think people were ready for asymmetrical sidewalls yet, and it threw kind of funky. It didn't have quite the bend that people expected. So from the mind of Paul Gait, this head has literally been, in my experience, the most innovative face-off head ever. They have thought of every possible detail, and I'm going to get into that now. So when you look at the bottom sidewall, this is a thinner sidewall. This sidewall, when you get your hands on it, is going to remind you of a slightly stiffer dual. It's thinner, it's got a great flex point, and I think it works really, really well as far as where the flex points are and where to wrap around the ball. The other thing, in addition to that, is this sidewall flares down into the ground. It actually, you know how the OG blade flares in this way? This actually flares out. And the idea behind that is to go underneath the ball. So when you're lined up, it digs right into the grass or the turf and goes underneath. Why would the sidewall do that? Well, let's go to the top sidewall. This sidewall is much thicker. It's a tank. And the idea behind this sidewall is to cut down underneath the sidewall of your opponent. So if you meet sidewall to sidewall, this head is literally designed to taper and cut underneath your opponents so that you get to the ball first. So now you have two sidewalls working synergistically going down on the ball. One's cutting underneath the turf, the other is cutting under the opponent's top sidewall to give you a huge advantage on the clamp. Guys who've used it all summer claim that they felt it every single time when they would clamp. They would feel that advantage. Some guys who used it here and there didn't really like it, said it didn't really, it wasn't worth the weird flex point for them. Now, usually, to be fair, those were guys who like the CEO. If you like the CEO, then every other head has a weird flex point to you. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt. Now, we have one side of the head that's very strong. It's got an extra trestle. The plastic's thicker. The sidewalls, they even thought about this. So the stringing actually has on this sidewall a little divot above each sidewall hole. And I'm actually gonna move this mesh so you can see it right there. Okay, it's got a little divot right there, and the idea is, please don't pay attention to how I strung this too much. I did it quickly so that I could show you this video. The idea was so that these strings on the sidewall can wrap there without sticking out past the plastic. Now, why is that important? If you're a face-off guy, you understand why. We don't want these big knots getting on the inside part of the plastic, because what that does is as our heads start to warp from 30 face-offs a game, the ball could get stuck, and now it's illegal. So the idea was to be able to help you make a pocket that keeps the sidewall strings out of the way, so when you are playing in a game, you get that nice clean exit, and the exit's everything, right? So that's the idea. So like I said, every innovation, and then of course, the trend now, the dual has a very short throat, which is the main reason most people tried it in the first place. The bad part about the dual is there's a huge insertable throat that goes like this far down, which makes the head shockingly heavy. This doesn't have an insertable throat. Instead, they have 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, that go around, and I can tell you from experience, this head didn't budge, not once, to anybody, anywhere. So it was locked in place. The sidewalls are thick at the bottom. They thought of everything. So they didn't have to worry about this head wiggling or moving or anything. There's no holes in it right now on this shaft, and it's sticking right where I put it. So, you know, it's a sturdy head. You don't have to worry about it slipping off the shaft like other heads have in the past, or anything like that. So the sidewalls, one's thinner, one's thicker. The scoop is great. The throat is short. And in my experience with this head over a month, I can tell you right now, this time next year, I would be shocked if this head wasn't one of the top 2 or 3 face-off heads sold on the market. I think this head on day 1, which as far as I understand is going to be October, on day 1 this head's going to sell very well. You're going to see a lot of guys using it in college. When I demonstrate it with Moto Grip, you're going to be able to see how the ball just kind of slides right to the throat. Okay, you can put all the weight you want on there to pro hop and get out, and it sticks. If I rotate, the ball doesn't slide up the head at all. So it's really good on that part of it. It's also great on 50-50s, obviously, because of the strong, short throat. And then if you want to go neutral grip, it's great because your hand's a little bit closer to the action, so you get more leverage. So when you come in for that pinch and pop, the ball's right where you need it to be. So I really like this head. I like everything about it. I think this is going to sell very well. I think people are going to like this. Think of it as a combination between a Legacy and a Dual. Okay, the Nike Legacy over time starts to get a little bit of a keyhole pinch. It's not going to flare forward like a CEO does, but it does have a similar feel, especially from here and around the bottom sidewall. It has a similar feel to a Dual. So, you know, I recommend giving this a try. I think every face-off guy out there should at least try this head and tell us what you think. But that's your review, full from the Under Armour Command X.